Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my channel, and let's go ahead and get right into the forecast because we are likely to see a severe weather outbreak today. And normally I try to kind of edit some of that OBS out, but today we're just going to go straight into it and talk about what's happening because the severe weather outbreak is going to start in just a few hours. In fact, it's already started for some folks. This is the southeast radar right here, and this is actually the landing page for the Nashville Weather Service office, and I wanted to show you this because you've already got some flash flood warnings in Arkansas. So, we've got a lot going on. First, I'm going to talk about the flood threat, and then we're going to get a little closer into the timing of these storms and who's going to have that greatest risk for tornadoes. That is going to be a big concern. So this is actually the excessive rainfall outlook, and it looks really similar to those severe weather risks that we show you. And it is similar. Basically, when you have, a moderate risk of flash flooding, you're probably going to see some flash flooding. So that is about a 40% chance of having a flash flood within 25 miles of a point. So if you're in Arkansas all the way up to Kentucky, if you're in the red, yellow, even the green, you could see some flash flooding. And the higher the risk, the further in you go. So that moderate risk area, you especially need to be cautious. And this is areas, unfortunately, that have seen flooding, including here in Middle Tennessee, kind of that western edge. It looks like Clarksville is probably included in there. Waverly, these folks especially need to be watching things carefully. This includes the southeast edge of Missouri, southern Illinois. So a lot of folks are under this warning, and we focus a lot on tornadoes and hail and wind, but flash flooding is so deadly and so dangerous. So just make sure you're paying attention. If you're in a flood prone area and you have a friend or a family member that lives somewhere less flood prone, might be worth it to just kind of hang out there tonight. And a lot of this action is underway now in terms of the rain. We're talking, 1 to 2 inches an hour, which is just incredibly fast, and that rain will really pile up. But the threat for severe thunderstorms, also another thing to watch out for. So you notice that the flooding threat is a little to the north and west of the severe storm threat. You could see severe storms in this area, don't get me wrong, but that's more of a flash flooding threat. Both are just equally dangerous, but the tornado threat is going to be focused around the lower Mississippi, mid-Mississippi Valley area, even up into the Tennessee River Valley. So let's talk about the categorical outlook. This is the Storm Prediction Center outlook, and we have a moderate risk. That's category 4 out of 5. So that means you're probably going to see severe weather of some sort if you're in that area. Now, statistically speaking, tornadoes are very dangerous, but they are still pretty small compared to a county or, a whole state. However, if it happens to you, it's a really bad day, and we want to make sure you stay safe. Make sure that you have a plan in place, that you know where to go. The timeline for the tornadoes likely going to be about 5 p.m. until midnight. So this is happening after dark for a lot of folks. Make sure you have your phones charged. That's number one. I'm going to be charging my phone today because I'm here in the Nashville area. And, I'm going to focus in also later in this video, talk a little bit more about Middle Tennessee. So if you're watching from Middle Tennessee, you can skip ahead and check that out. But what we're doing right now is just looking at kind of the overview of this. And let's take a look at the tornado risk. So you've got a 15% risk, and then you've got a 10% risk. So the 15% risk, this little intersection of Louisiana, Mississippi, kind of includes Memphis, includes Greenville, southeast Arkansas. You have to be on alert because you're going to see some supercells, and then you're going to see a big line forming. And that line can have severe thunderstorms, it can have tornadoes, it can have damaging winds and hail. But the tornado threat with those supercells is going to be the greatest. And that's about from 5 p.m. Central until midnight. Notice there's those black hatches, those little black dots. That indicates strong tornadoes possible. That's EF2 and above. So not something we like to see, but it's not unusual. We're really heading into severe weather season, and this time of year you get these kind of outlooks. So anywhere from Shreveport through Jackson, into the western half of Middle Tennessee, you're under that hatched area. Little Rock, there's a lot of big cities, a lot of metro areas included. Memphis, Greenville, even close to Jackson there. And basically, strong tornadoes going to be possible. So not only are you going to see that threat for a tornado, you're going to see the risk for it to be a really strong one. And when you see that 15%, that means it's a 15% probability that you'll have a tornado within 25 miles of where you're at if you're in that 15% area. So basically, bottom line, you got to be paying attention. So let's go ahead and go over to wind. Same story there. We could see some really gusty winds. And as someone a few weeks ago who had their power out for 3 days, I'm taking windstorms very seriously, and you should too. Charge everything up if you're within that 15%, if you're in that 30% probability in red, and that hatched area, especially Memphis, Jackson. I would say the Nashville area, we're just outside of that, but gosh, y'all, you definitely want to make sure you're ready for this. And then big hail is going to be possible too, especially where you get those supercells developing from Shreveport up through Little Rock, even into the Memphis area. So let's get to what you want to see, and that is the actual forecast. So what we're going to look at is kind of this, let's actually go into the deep south view. So we can get a look a little bit closer at the supercells. So this area is under the enhanced risk, kind of this intersection of, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and things really start to get going this afternoon, and it looks like the model run changed on me. There we go. So this is around 1 o'clock. You can start to see some development, but then 3 o'clock, you're starting to see these storms kind of forming out ahead of this main line. And when you have storms like this that look like little beans, basically those are supercells, and that's a big deal because that's the kind of storm that can produce strong tornadoes. And this continues. There's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And then you start to see everything kind of congealing into a big line of thunderstorms. So there's still going to be a tornado threat when the storms start to look like this, when they kind of congeal together in a line. But the threat for large damaging tornadoes will be greatest kind of in that 5, 6, 7 o'clock range when you see these supercells forming out ahead of that main line. And these are storms, they are alone, so they can take advantage of all of the energy in the atmosphere. When you got a big line of storms, they still get the energy, but they're kind of sharing it with each other, whereas a supercell can just kind of slurp up all of that energy, all of the moisture, everything it needs to power itself and spin. And that's a really bad thing if you are, in the path of these storms, because they can produce long track damaging tornadoes. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It's a possibility. So please make sure that you are aware and that you're paying attention. So the timing, once again, I would say about 5 to midnight is when you need to be on alert. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Middle Tennessee, because this is where I'm at. And I know that a lot of folks here on this channel know me because I worked in, local news for a long time. So for us, we have a threat here. So here's Davidson County, just to kind of give you, this is Nashville right here, where everything converges. And, the timing, 9, 10 o'clock. This is happening at night. And you've got a tornado threat with these. You also have the threat of really damaging winds. I think the wind threat is going to be the greatest, but we could see isolated tornadoes. And you guys know it just takes one to really cause a lot of damage. We are the #1 state for nighttime tornadoes, unfortunately. So please be weather aware about tornado threat. Just know that that wind threat is going to be just as bad. Like you could see these damaging winds knock down power. We had really bad power outages not that long ago. So I think a lot of us, including me, are still thinking about that. But this could be a pretty gusty wind of it. And yeah, this continues into the early morning hours, moving on to the plateau. If you're west of 65, you have the greatest risk. And this is the main area of concern, stretching from Lawrenceburg up to Nashville. This is the National Weather Service offices in Nashville, Tennessee. Know all of the forecasters there. They are fantastic. So I always look and see what they think, because, it's nice to have the opinion of other professionals. And Lawrenceburg, Waynesboro, up through Franklin, Nashville, all these areas, you're at a level 3 out of 5 for severe storms. And that's the main area of concern. Notice they say the potential for straight line damaging winds at 60-mile-per-hour winds. They blow through, they knock down power lines and trees, and it's all sorts of trouble. So please secure anything that you have outdoors. Make sure it is inside if you don't want to lose it, or just tied down. We could see some localized flooding as well. And charge your phone. Make sure you do that. Make sure you have those alerts loud enough to wake you up, because a lot of this is happening at night. So for us, I would say it's wind and also some flash flooding threat, but we could see an isolated tornado and we could see some hail. So please, you can't discount that tornado threat, though I do think that winds are probably going to be the bigger concern, but tornadoes are also possible and also a pretty big concern. So that's what we're looking at for that. And then, just keeping an eye on everything. There's so many risks right now happening. There's just a lot with this forecast, and I wanted to get on here and give you guys a quick update. So thank you for joining. Please stay safe, and I will talk to y'all later.